Solid. Now then guys, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you're all doing well. Today's one's going to be a little bit of an interesting job. It was one that I actually went to flush, but in the end, I mean the pipe was blocked, as you'll see in the video, but in the end it was a little bit of a weird setup, and I do explain at the end how I think it was working, because honestly this tower had never worked all the time. The customer had lived in the house. I think they'd lived in the house 4 years and it had never worked, and I don't really know how it was piped to work, if that makes sense, but all will become a little bit clearer in the video. I do go into a little bit of detail at the end how I think it was working, what I think the old boiler probably was in, because it was a little bit of a rare setup, as you'll probably see. So yeah, we'll get straight into it. Hopefully it's enjoyable. This one did make my head scratch a little bit, and also this job that I'm on now is making my head scratch a little bit as well. So you'll probably see this one coming up in a future video as well. It's probably going to be a little bit of a short video. But yeah, hopefully it's interesting. Hopefully you learn something, because every day is a school day in this job. And honestly, this one, I mean, one of my subscribers might know how it was piped up, but I've never seen anything like this, how it was done. But yeah, we'll get straight into it. Hopefully you enjoy it. And yeah, let me know what you think. Just doing a power flush on this heating system today. I've got it in line with my Magna cleanse, so it's catching all the dirty water coming back. They've got an issue with one or two of the radiators. It's all underfloor heating downstairs, so I've valved all that off. That all works fine, but the radiators are all cold and a couple of the tower rails don't work at all. So that's what I'm busy cracking on with. I've just branched onto the system. So yeah, we're getting all this flushed out. I'm going to go around with the thermal camera. I've got my mate going around agitating the radiators. So hopefully it should be alright. You can see the difference on the hoses. So this is coming back through the Magna cleanse, and it's a lot clearer coming back into the power flush machine. So keep flicking the flow around. So obviously it traps a little bit in there as well, but two of the tower rails weren't working at all, so we are giving it a hot flush as well. Hopefully this will do a bit of good. They've used the old primary circuit for these two tower rails, and that's why these have been so poor. The hot water works fine. They obviously pressurised it at some point when they put the new boiler in, and then the old primaries would have nearly been blocked, and it's just dumped it all in this tower rail. Yeah, we'll continue to work on these, and then we'll check all the radiator circuit. Underfloor's been fine. So yeah, we'll get this one going. Has got some rubbish in it, but
that's all full of rubbish.
Yeah, the pipe's all full of rubbish, is it, Harry?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah, the pipe is completely blocked, to be fair. It's absolutely blocked. Do you reckon it shouldn't have any pressure behind that, should it? If we give that a poke. We'll see. Look, it's not collapsed, look, it's absolutely block solid. That's why the power flush machine wasn't touching that one. Yeah. Solid. We won't get anything back on the power flush machine on this.
Yeah, there you go, look.
Solid, look. Quite satisfying, that, Harry.
Looks like poop.
That's not censored on YouTube anymore. I don't think it was censored before. The word hell and damn you couldn't say on YouTube, but I can say it as much as I want now. So hell and damn to it.
That goes to your coil and that goes to your radiator.
Anybody seen anything like this? This 3-port here is just doing hot water and tower rails. So we've got a 15mm ABN. Then obviously this goes to the coil, that top one out the top, and then there's that speed fit connection going out the bottom, which we assume feeds the tower rails. Only one of the tower rail works, the other one's blocked, but I'm not sure how that 3-port's been piped, because we've got, let me show you in here. This is the one we're struggling to unblock. That pipe on the right is completely blocked on that speed fit. We've just put that speed fit elbow there to test, but it does convert to speed fit under the floor. That pipe was already there. I think that goes off the primary flow, because we've blown down that on the coil, but I've no idea. Obviously, I think they're heating. That's primary flow and return. That other one was already taken off the return, but I don't know what that 3-port does and why it's been piped like that, because nothing controls it. So it's really confused me, that one. Obviously that pipe there is completely blocked. We've tried flushing it, we can't get it flushed out. That pipe there is not blocked, so I'm tempted just to take that flow, connect it back onto there. I think it's been done like that at some point. The trouble is like there's 10 pipes across there, because we've got flow and return, primaries, we've got hot and colds, and we've got the old cold feeding vent, and then we've got the underfloor pipes. So across here we've got 10 22mm pipes. You can't see them, but we have. So that one's confused me. I think we're just going to connect that straight across there and into there, and that'll come on with the hot water anyway. Because I don't understand what that 3-port's doing, because there's no separate room stat or anything for the towel rail circuit, so it can only be coming on. It can only be coming on with the hot water anyway. I don't know what controls that room stat. What controls that 3-port? I don't know. That is really weird. I've never seen something done like that before, unless there's a pipe stat that controls the 3-port somewhere. But even then, this one will still work with the other tower rail. It'll just come on. Just do it like that, I think, Harry. Connect that across to there. I think that's all we can do. And then it will just work. We can only try it. I don't know. I'm sure one of my subscribers will know. Yeah, that 3-port looks backwards to me anyway. It might even be a diverter valve. It might not even be a 3-port. But either way. Because surely that one there should be AB in, but that's only 15mm at the 3-port. And then that speed fit one coming out is probably that pipe which is blocked, and God knows where the other one goes out the top. One goes to the coil and then one goes back into the floor. I've no idea. I've never seen a system pipe like that before. But that's a strange one. Now this is a bit of a fag packet drawing explaining that heating system was just on. So that part of the heating system was only doing towel rails and hot water. There was a separate zone valve and pump in the next to the boiler for the radiator circuit. So what we had is that 22mm, what we're assuming was the old primary flow, went up into the AB of the 3-port, which is correct. Reduced down to 15mm somewhere under that floor, it must have done. And it went into the hot water cylinder again, which is correct. Obviously, cylinder start. So that'll turn that off when it gets to 60. But it also looped back around, and I'm honestly not sure where that one went, because it came up out the 3-port on the A port, down and then back around. So whether they were using that as some sort of bypass, or whether that was feeding the towel rails at some point, or I'm not sure. And then we've got this B port, which converted straight to speed fit out the bottom, which that was the pipe that was blocked. So one of the towel rails in the other ensuite was working, but the one we was working on didn't work. So what we did is we effectively came off. Let me just draw it. So the primary flow. So the primary flow came up across. It'd been capped off already. So that had been the AB into the 3-port. So every time the towel rail circuit would have come on, this towel rail then worked. So the return was already onto the primary return anyway. So that's how we reconnected it up, and that towel rail worked then. I'm honestly not sure what controlled that B port of the towel rail, of the 3-port, because there was no separate like room thermostat, or it potentially could have been on the programmer. It got one of them, I don't know if anybody's ever come across them, probably not, it's pretty rare, but it got one of the old HCC, what I call golf ball controllers in. Originally it probably had a HCC boiler, which were made at Hotham, oil boiler. I guess they were okay, but they were mega like complicated. They were like I guess, what could you compare them to on the gas world? I guess you could compare them to like a Keston type thing, but inside the HCCs would have been, you used to have the Siemens actuators, so it would mix the water. Obviously, so at some point somebody's put a Worcester in, so I wondered whether potentially off the controller, because there's 77 settings inside them controllers. So what they've done is they've mounted that controller on the wall, which would have been next to the HCC boiler originally. They always used to come with them. So inside that programmer, there's 77 different settings, so you could mix your water and all sorts of stuff. So I wonder inside that programmer whether one of them controls was for the tower rail circuit. That's the only thing I can think of. And potentially the tower rails was probably just coming on with the hot water anyway. So we ended up connecting, as I say, it back through, and then it will just come on with, it will come on with that tower rail anyway if that is connected off the B port, and it'll also come on with the hot water. But so yeah, that's how we did it, and obviously the customer was happy with that. That tower rail had never worked all the time they'd lived in the house. And I don't even know if that pipe was capped under the floor. What you didn't see in the video, I actually connected my compressor to it, and I had that pipe up to 6 bar and it wouldn't move. It literally like pumping against a solid pipe. So I wonder whether it was capped under the floor somewhere. I have no idea. But yeah, we did say to the customer, obviously because we'd had to take the floor up, it might be worth putting like an electric element inside that tower rail. So if they wanted it on like on a summer switch without having the hot water so it's completely independent, it might be worth just getting some elements for the tower rails, and then you can have them on and off when you wanted. But yeah, they were happy with what we did anyway. Obviously we did go there to flush the system, but that really did confuse me. I don't know where that pipe was going. I don't really know where that pipe was going. I don't really know how it was working, and it's quite rare that I come across systems and that I can't really figure it out. But I think originally it would have been a HCC boiler, and it would have had a mixing valve off the circuit that was probably feeding that tower rail. That's how I think it was, and then obviously just looped the pipes together, and then it probably didn't work when they did it, and then thought, oh, bugger it, do you know what I mean? We'll just cap the pipe off and not bother having a tower rail in there. That's possibly what happened, but I don't know. As I say, it never worked. The customers lived in that house 4 years and the tower rail had never worked. So, and that's what we did in the end, and it does work now. So there's probably a result. But yeah, it just goes to show sometimes plumbing is not always straightforward. Obviously, you do come across weird systems, and if you ever come across one, I know there's a few HCC boilers down south because for some reason they're not there anymore. But for some reason their number used to get diverted to our office, and we used to have to take the calls, so I've no idea what that was all about. But every now and then you do get somebody ring you up wanting to go and service one. But yeah, there's a few about still, but not as many. And as I say, the controllers were so complicated on them. Literally, there was, I think that off the top of my head, I'm sure there were 77 different parameters inside that controller. So I tend not to go delving too deep inside them, because if you do knacker them up, they like take some resetting back up. But yeah, that's probably what it was. It's all working now. All we did is connected it across, and it was a good result for the customer in the end. It was just a shame we had to lift the flooring up.